At some point, it really reached a moment where it was my mom, the one that told me, okay, you need to duct tape your mouth. You need to graduate from law school. And she added, but you need to get the hell out of here. Because she said, because if you don't, you are going to end up in jail with whoever is the person that you are representing. I was born and raised under Castro. I left Cuba in 2001 at age 27. So there is really not many things about living in a communist, centrally controlled and planned society that anybody can come and tell me, because I was literally born and raised under it. I have been here in the States again for almost 20 years now. Did my mandatory time in Miami for 4 years and a half. And then after I graduated from FIU, I relocated in Colorado, and then Colorado has been home since then. When I was able to get my mom and my dad out of Cuba, they flew directly to Denver, Colorado as well. So the Rocky Mountains is home now for me.
To each their own. I love the Miami feel. I love the Hispanic feel of Miami. Again, sorry, Zach, out in LA.
Well, I have very good Cuban friends in LA too. So that's kind of just to Zach's credit there.
We're everywhere.
Exactly. So anyway, that's kind of the wrap up of basically who I am. I usually tell people I'm just a simple Cuban girl born in Cuba, made in the US, trying to make a living here, a better future for myself and my kids. Getting a little tricky lately. Again, I left Cuba at age 27 in 2001, right after I graduated from law school in Havana University. I did a master's in journalism and mass communication at FIU in Miami. And then it was right after that I got a job offer here in Greeley, Colorado. And that's how I ended up here. Granted, back then we didn't have smartphones. I have no idea where Colorado or Greeley, let alone, was located, but I was ready for the adventure. And then I did that for almost 4 years. After that, I also worked as a medical interpreter and translator. Did that for almost 10 years until I decided to start my own business when the kids were born. And lo and behold, what I do now for a living with the company has absolutely nothing to do with what I went to school for.
Talking about what you went to school for. So you studied something in Cuba that I think is so interesting, because there are very few lawyers in Cuba. You can't sue people in Cuba. The thought of what Americans think of for lawyers doesn't happen in Cuba, but you studied law. Tell us about that.
Well, that was kind of literally the cherry on the top of any awakening moment that any person can have when you are, again, born and raised in a totalitarian society. It was actually when I started in law school that I started studying law and the history of law and all that a lot of things were starting to click in the back of my head. And around those years, a lot of things happened in Cuba when I was still there. When I was going to the university, it was the Elian crisis. It was when the Cuban government sank the 13 de Marzo tugboat. It was the years of the Maleconazo. It was the years of the rafter crisis when the Clinton administration was in the White House. So a lot of things happened. Granted, in Havana, and I was right there. Many of them I was able to see them from the distance, but kind of a scary close distance, if you say. At some point, it really reached a moment where it was my mom, the one that told me, okay, you need to duct tape your mouth. You need to graduate from law school. You need to finish the university because, whatever your study, your title, whatever you learn, nobody can ever take that away from you, regardless of where you are. And she added, but you need to get the hell out of here. Because she said, because if you don't, you are going to end up in jail with whoever is the person that you are representing. And that coming from a mother of, I'm a single child.